Hello everyone, my name is Quinn Knight and welcome back to How to Not Suck at Star Wars Battlefront II. Today we'll be covering Kylo Ren, the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia, and the current antagonist of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. We'll start off by covering the basics so you guys can know what you need to do to competently use Kylo on the battlefield, and after we've finished up with that, we'll cover the best loadout to give you guys the edge over other players, and cover the most effective strategies to help you dominate the battlefront. If this video helped you out, I would really appreciate it if you drop me a like, as that really helps me out, and comment down below and let me know what hero you'd like to see a guide on next, as the next hero with the most votes will be the one that I cover in my next video. Anyways guys, thank you all for watching, and let's get into this. So, as per usual, the first thing that we'll want to cover are Kylo's health and movement capabilities. Kylo starts out with 750 health, which, for a character like Kylo, is actually pretty solid. He's one of the strongest dark side heroes in terms of HP, and is also relatively quick, with only the likes of Darth Maul and the Emperor having the speed to outpace him. Kylo's high speed also makes him perfect for rushing enemies in HVV who aren't quite smart enough to stick with their team and taking them out quickly before flanking other enemies. Kylo also has a jump much like Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader's, which allows him to jump quickly on top of buildings and glide around to get to places much more quickly than other characters. Kylo also cannot combat roll, but can dodge side to side to avoid damage and throw enemies completely off guard. If you can effectively combine Kylo's speed, dodge, and jump, you can escape pretty much any situation this game throws at you. Kylo is of course equipped with his now infamous cross-guard lightsaber that killed his father Han Solo. Kylo's base lightsaber attack can be used an infinite amount of times, but using it often in rapid succession can drain your stamina. If you do find yourself low on stamina, Kylo's lightsaber attacks will be less effective until you do recover, and you won't be able to properly deflect blaster bolts while you're recovering, and this should almost never be an issue, as using Kylo properly does not include mindlessly slashing your lightsaber until your stamina is drained, and instead requires strategy and ability cooldown that should keep your stamina at a manageable level at all times. If for some reason you do find your stamina completely drained, the best thing to do is just to run away, quickly recover that stamina, and jump right back into the action. Kylo's saber, as mentioned before, can also be used to deflect blaster bolts back at enemies and stun lightsaber heroes by blocking their incoming attacks. Stunning a hero by performing a successful block will give you an opportunity to get a few free hits on them and make them much more easy to finish off. Finally, Kylo's lightsaber will switch off occasionally when not in use, but will immediately turn back on whenever entering combat. Now that we've covered Kylo's very basics, let's go over his abilities: Frenzy, Freeze, and Pull. His first ability, Frenzy, is definitely his standout ability, at least in my mind. Once activated, Kylo will enter a frenzied rage and absolutely destroy anyone that is unfortunate enough to get in his path. If you defeat one enemy and another is close, Kylo will automatically jump to the next player and begin to damage him until the ability wears off, and this is an excellent finishing move. Kylo's frenzy attack deals much more damage than his base lightsaber attack, and once activated, it requires very little input from the player, as Kylo will auto jump to any enemy that is nearby. Against heroes, this can take over half of their health away in the space of about 3 seconds, and when you're dealing with a Han or a Leia or another low health hero, you can completely drain all their health and kill them if you have the right star cards. And during the frenzy, enemies become partially stun locked, which saves you from most damage and also stops them from getting away and escaping your attack. In Galactic Assault, if you are dealing with multiple enemies in a really close quarter situation, this is best paired with another one of Kylo's abilities that we will be discussing in a quick minute. As while the enemies that you are damaging are stun locked, the others are completely just able to destroy you, or completely vulnerable to all other attacks. In HVV, I definitely wouldn't recommend activating this near more than maybe 2 other enemies at the same time for the very same reason. Just wait until you're dealing with 1 or 2 guys and then devastate them with a well-timed activation. Next up, we have Pull, and believe it or not, this ability pulls all enemies within its range towards Kylo, and this ability, it's a bit of a mixed bag, and you need to be careful when you're using it, as it can either really help you out, or it can just as easily get you killed and put you in a bad situation. Without the use of star cards, Kylo's pull ability does not actually damage enemies at all. It just pulls them towards you without actually hurting them in any way, but it does stun them momentarily and send them flying towards yourself. If you are in a situation where you have a lot of health and want to quickly take out a couple of enemy heroes, this ability is awesome. It stuns them long enough for you to really mess them up before they've recovered, and usually allows you to stun them before they can pull out one of their abilities on you. However, if you are low on health or you decide to pull too many heroes towards you, this ability is just going to get you killed, as it essentially drops the heroes right at your feet, leaving them free to get up and take you out quickly. This is only ever really a problem in HVV. You won't have to worry about this in Galactic Assault because the player's health is so low you can kill all of them before they even have time to get up. But in HVV, if you're dealing with a Luke and a Leia and a Han, you're only going to be able to take one out before the other two are up and completely destroying you. And it should be said, you just always need to be smart before activating this. It can really be clutch like every ability, but one wrong force pull and you've just surrounded yourself with 4 enemy heroes, which is almost never a good idea. Finally, Kylo's third ability is Freeze, and this completely immobilizes everyone it affects, leaving them completely defenseless and completely unable to move. And when you combine this with Kylo's Frenzy, not even the strongest of heroes stand a chance. Against infantry, this is amazing if you're being surrounded. You can quickly freeze most of the enemies around you and instantly take them out before they deal too much damage to you. Against other heroes, particularly in HVV, I cannot recommend combining this with your Frenzy ability enough, as you generally have enough time to completely melt at least one hero during its duration, and this also leaves the enemy frozen for your teammates to damage as well, so you can take out 3 or 4 as a team and just completely destroy them. And on more than one occasion, I've been able to save teammates from death by freezing their attacker before they've been able to kill them, and this can save you points constantly. This ability also comes really in handy when you're trying to escape from an enemy team, as quickly turning around, freezing everyone behind you will give you a massive head start and allow you to regroup with your teammates before being completely slaughtered. The best thing to do with freeze is to save it for when you need it, as it can be the difference between a win and a loss in a lot of situations. This is one of the strongest abilities in the game due to its versatility, and a player who knows how to use it will find himself destroying as Kylo consistently. Now that we've covered Kylo's basics and abilities, we need to talk about Kylo's star cards. Kylo has some extremely powerful star cards that you can get, and some of you may already have some of them, depending on which version of the game that you bought. Before we cover some personal suggestions, it's definitely worth going over the 2 epic cards that came with the Deluxe Trooper Edition of this game, Solid Freeze and Power Reach. And whether or not you bought the Deluxe Edition of the game or not, you guys need to know that for heroes versus villains, these are not the best cards for Kylo. Solid Freeze increases Kylo's freeze range by 30% once fully upgraded, and Power Reach increases his pull range by 30%. And for game modes where you'll be fighting infantry, keep these on. Always keep these on at all times, 100%. These are 2 of the best cards against regular troopers. I cannot recommend them enough. But for heroes versus villains, these are 2 cards that are not as useful as you'd think. There are 2 other cards that can be much more useful. The first one being Resilience, and this more or less gives him a straight up damage buff in HVV. Once fully upgraded, this card gives Kylo's lightsaber 20 additional damage per swing whenever he is near another villain. And in HVV, you'll be near a teammate 95% of the time, and a 20 HP damage boost is extremely noticeable per swing. That's 100 extra damage per 5 swings. That is insane and an insane edge over other teammates. I currently only have the common rarity, which only grants me a 10 HP damage boost, but it is very noticeable and makes Kylo much more effective. The other card that I recommend for HVV is Bloodlust. On PC, I was fortunate enough to receive the rare version of this card out of a hero crate, and this card increases the amount of frenzy attacks that Kylo can perform once the ability is activated. Once fully upgraded, Kylo will perform 9 attacks instead of his standard 5, and this makes Kylo's standout ability nearly twice as effective and turns Kylo into an absolute killing machine. The final star card that I would recommend, and this is the only card I would recommend using in both Galactic Assault and HVV, is Harsh Pull, and this upgrades Kylo's pull ability, making it cause damage in addition to pulling them towards you. This card is amazing. I mean, it's one of the best hero upgrades in the game, as it essentially adds an entire new use to a hero ability. Once maxed out, this card will deal 50 damage to all enemies, and that is over half of the health of a specialist, and will take a decent chunk of health from all heroes. To recap, I recommend using Power Reach and Solid Freeze in game modes where you'll be primarily battling infantry, and using Bloodlust and Resilience in any other game mode that's a hero-based mode that's added down the line. I would always run Harsh Pull no matter the game mode, as this card is probably his best overall upgrade, and it gives Kylo an awesome new way to use his pull ability. Alright, we've covered all the basics, now it's time to move on to strategy. And guys, in my opinion, Kylo is probably the most user-friendly hero in this game. He's not the best hero, not even close, but he is a good hero, and if you're struggling with this game, if you're having a hard time with it, I think Kylo would be a good place for you to start as far as heroes go. He's one of the easiest heroes to understand and get used to, and mastering his ability should not take too long now that you fully understand what they all do. Kylo is very, very quick, and this allows him to flank enemies and take them by surprise, and his speed allows him to escape situations and outrun pursuing enemies. Kylo is one of the few heroes in this game that always forces you to get up close and personal with your enemies, as he doesn't really have any long-range attacks, and using all three of his abilities extremely effectively is what will make you consistently perform well with Kylo. Running into a group of enemies and attempting to hack them all down with your lightsaber is just going to guarantee you a quick and unfortunate death. I recommend that you always stick with your team in HVV, especially with other saber heroes like Darth Maul. If you guys can flank an enemy together and freeze them, it's quite possible to wipe out an entire team if you play your cards right. The most important tactic when it comes to Kylo Ren is managing your ability cooldowns. When I've just used my abilities and they're recharging, it's usually best to just hang back for a little bit, let Kylo recharge his abilities, as he can be quickly melted if he doesn't have an ability at the ready. He doesn't have the insane speeds and escape tactics of Darth Maul or the extremely high health of Vader, and instead sits right in the middle. He's good at everything, but not amazing at any one specific thing. He's really a jack of all trades, and this is what makes him so good for players who just want to master their first hero. He doesn't have any glaring weaknesses, but it also doesn't have the absolute top spot for really any specific category. Kylo is a very middle of the road hero in my opinion, and he's almost never a bad choice, as he can do perfectly fine in essentially any situation. He's definitely a bit stronger in close quarters combat for obvious reasons, as enemies with blasters will have a much harder time seeing you coming and taking you out, and Kylo's abilities just tend to perform a little bit better when your enemies are in a concentrated area. Anyways guys, that's all for today. That's going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit the like button, as that really helps me out. And if you're a fan of Star Wars Battlefront, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've gained 3,000 subs this month. You guys are freaking amazing. I have been enjoying this game so much. I just had a stroke there. That was a little bit strange. Anyways, it's outro time. You can have a stroke in the outro. That's fine, right? If you get to this part of the video, comment down below. Let me know who is your favorite hero in Battlefront 2, and comment the word asparagus. No one's going to get to this part of the video because you click off once I do the exit. But if you hear me say the word asparagus, comment it down below just for the lols. But anyways, I'd be extremely curious to see what you guys think is the best hero. Who's your favorite? Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.